U.S. Farm Report on the road at the World Pork Expo is brought to you by Your Pork Checkoff. Your Pork Checkoff is building a bigger appetite for pork to grow long-term consumer demand. See how at porkcheckoff.org/radio.
Well, welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend from World Pork Expo here in Des Moines, Iowa. And as I promised before the break, we have a great group of panelists here to talk everything pork demand, pork prices. Brett Stewart, president of Global Agri-Trends, Steve Meyer, senior livestock economist with EverAd, and Aaron Bohr, VP of Access and Analysis with the U.S. Meat Export Federation. All right, Brett, I'm going to start with you because the bright spot this year has been this impressive pork export pace. Why have we seen such strong demand internationally?
Well, it's a combination of factors, Tyne. You look. The one thing you've got to remember with the U.S. pork industry is we are incredibly competitive on a global basis.
Yeah.
We have abundant feed supplies, we have infrastructure, we have productivity, we're very competitive. We have access agreements in place with those key markets that allow us pretty much unfettered access. And when you look around the world at what's happened, there have been some major shifts in recent years, one with our major competitor, Europe. And some of those regulations, we can go into detail on that further, but there have been some regulatory changes that have really caused them to step back from the global markets, which has provided a real in for U.S. pork in a lot of these key markets.
Yeah, Steve, let's talk about that, because when you look at EU production, Aaron says it's down almost 3 million metric tons from the peak in 2021. Put that in perspective here. How much pork is that?
Yeah, when you say 3 million tons, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 25% of our production. That is, they've reduced their output by the amount of product that we export. So this is a major shift in world supply situations with the EU stepping back that far, and it's opened some opportunities, especially in Asia for us, that we can take advantage of, and we see that in spades, Aaron, with Korea up 55% this year. And so it's a big deal. It's one of those things, it's not going back the other way more than likely. And in fact, their production is probably going to go down more in the years to come. It's kind of stabilized this year, but I think they're going to they've made policy decisions that are going to limit their output for years to come. So it really opens some opportunity for us and for Brazil and for Canada. We're the other three players in that deal. Canada's probably not going to grow much, but Brazil is going to be a formidable competitor going forward.
So considering that sharp decline in EU production, how has that played into our export pace here?
Yeah, thanks, Tyne. I think it's a kind of a two-tail story for U.S. pork exports. So we had European product undercutting us when China pulled back after they rebuilt through ASF. And so we've seen a return to U.S. competitiveness. Our exports are going more volume at higher prices. So we have seen that demand component. I think that's really critical to understand. But Europe's prices actually increased after being way too low for 2021 and 2022. And so there's that factor in Asia. So especially Korea, Southeast Asia, where we're seeing that growth, and Australia taking back market share from Europe. But the other side is here in the Western Hemisphere and in Latin America, where U.S. pork is driving consumption growth. So I think we have to remember that within kind of our part of the world, Europe had a presence, but not as much. It's really we think of our markets where we have a strong market share. So we are driving consumption growth. And so it's those two tails. It's Western Hemisphere trade agreements, consumption growth driven by U.S. pork, Asia, U.S. pork retaking share from Europe.
Brett, can this strength in the export market, can it continue?
Yeah, I think so, Tyne. I think there's some real opportunities at add. As we look out, and it's market by market, right? These markets are all unique. I've got pork exports forecast up 9% this year, and that might be on the upper end of the range of estimates. But I look at, it's not just Mexico or Korea or Colombia. If you look at the non-top 10 markets, that's over 80 countries. That market is up 30% year to date, and it grew 30% last year. And so it's not just this handful of markets we hear a lot about.